All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you to all our giants. We do have another customer giant who's going to be coming up in a moment, but I wanted to reflect on what we just saw. What we saw was that if you meet your subscribers where they live with a solution that impacts their lives, it changes the game, right? It's whether they're living in a home or they're living in an MDU or they're in a business or they're out and about the community. But when you take giant steps higher, the real change comes when you can wrap it all together. And that's why I'm so excited to invite our next giant to the stage. He's somebody who is wrapping all of this together and changing the game for his communities. I'd like to welcome Scott Hendrix, CEO of Tombigbee Fiber.
We sat in this crowd 3 years ago, and I leaned over to my staff and I said, I want to be on that stage in 3 years. And so I came to the meeting the next year and said, what do I have to do that? And they said, oh, you have to grow and do this and be successful, and you have to get an NPS score. And we said, what's an NPS score? And Calix promised to help us. And so we set out on that path. So why did I want to be up here? Because I wanted to tell Mississippi's story. I wanted to tell Tombigbee's story. And if you can be successful in rural Mississippi, you can be successful in anywhere in the country. And it's a really cool movement we've got going on here. I think this is one of the greatest times in American history as to what we're doing in the co-op world, what we're doing in the broadband world. We're closing the divide. We're making things beautiful for people. So Mississippi is a place known for innovation, but most of the country doesn't know that. So how can you really be known for that? Birthplace of rock and roll. We'll talk about Elvis. You know, the last guy from Tupelo to be on a stage in Vegas with this many lights and this much makeup was the king himself, Elvis Presley. I can't sing, I'm not gonna. The man running for in our office for governor is related to him. We still care about Elvis in Mississippi. So the cooperative movement in America was started in Mississippi. The first co-op was started in 1934, just north of us. They get to claim first co-op. We started 4 months earlier as a civic improvement corporation in 1933. Tombigbee's 90 years old today in September. So in 2019, it was not legal for us to be in broadband. So some of us went to the legislature and lobbied and wrote a law and passed it the fastest we ever did in the history of the state of Mississippi to let us get in the business. So 2019, we passed the law. 2020, Tombigbee Fiber starts business. We start getting design. We bring in consultants. We learn things and figure out a lot of things we don't know. And we set out initially just to be an internet provider. Didn't really know what that meant or what was to come next. We started construction. Construction languished a little bit, and then we really took off. The first customer was in November of 20, and we thought we were doing good. We then ramped up. We're building 50 miles of fiber a week. We were installing, ultimately at our peak, 1,220 customers a month. We were pretty proud of that in rural Mississippi. Michael talked to you about platforms, and he used the analogy of a truck, and I kind of knew he was going to do that. And that truck means a little something different to me. I'm a car collector. I've been building old cars since I was 6 years old with my dad and my family. But the truck on the screen is the platform for me. That is my grandfather's truck that he bought a year before I was born. And it's sitting outside of a little store on a rural highway in Mississippi that was my grandmother's country store. My granddad worked for the highway department, built highways. My grandmother would pump gas at that store if you needed it pumped. It was the kind of place you come in, you sit by the pot-bellied stove, you have a bologna sandwich because it's less than $1. You drink a Coke and put some peanuts in it and you have a good day and you talk about the community and everybody supports each other. That is the basis of where Mississippi comes from. That community spirit. That comes from my grandfather. So that truck is my platform for family and community and spirit. And that's what made growing fiber into rural America important to me. At Tombigbee, we don't think the view outside of your window should define the quality, and it says internet on the screen, and I told them I wasn't going to follow the script. I don't think the view out of your window should define the services you should receive from any provider, particularly your internet provider. So we want to bring world-class offerings to our communities. So we started out, as you've heard the others say today, we started with our first goal was just the internet. And then we talked about what do you do? We learned about Protect IQ and Experience IQ, and we thought that was our duty to protect our families, our households, our networks, because they don't know how to do it. So we added those offerings out of the gate, and we pay for those. That's part of our package. We don't charge our customers for that. The next evolution from that is Bark. I can't tell the story that was told before I got up here on stage because I would cry. It's so touching as to what that program does. But if you can save one child, it's an incredible experience. And the cost of implementation and the ease of access to implement Bark, it's the easiest program we've done with Calix. We did it in 2 weeks. We decided to do it, we rolled it out, we implemented it, and we followed suit with Calix and some of the other customers. We give that to our employees because it matters. That is just a platform of what we can do back to that community spirit, community life, and what we stand for. Well, where do you go next? The way we're successful in this business is differentiated services. Michael's talked about it, Matt's talked about it. That's what makes us good. That's what makes us not just an ISP or BSP. Well, SmartTown was the next thing to come. So we thought we would do a little promo of that, a little pilot. You need to be in a good relationship with your mayor of your town if you're going to do that. I just happen to have one on staff, so he had to be in a good relationship about the product. My manager of fiber services is in the room, Matt Fennell. Matt is the mayor of Mantachie, Mississippi. It's a huge 1,200-person town. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to be. Well-run city administration. And we talked to them and said, we really need to build SmartTown. So we did that. And it was so successful in our July 4th rollout in Mantachie, we had to move to our board and talk about building into other areas. So we did that. We went to the board and said, we want to do SmartTown. They said, okay, what's your first step? Brainstorming. 2 weeks before football season starts, we said, why not do it at football stadiums? Michael had talked about big stadiums. I don't have big stadiums. I'm rural Mississippi. I have 10 high schools. We went to them, and 9 of them said, yes, we want SmartTown at our stadiums. So we rolled 4 out the first game for the first week. We rolled the 4 out the next. Tremendous success. Just been a real adventure. What does this lead to? And I'm about out of time. I knew it would be. Success in bringing on customers. Tombigbee was only supposed to get cash flow positive in 7 years, but because we have differentiated service, because of our partnership with Calix, because of the success of the things we're talking about, we're cash flow positive in 2. We're able to return back to our cooperative over 7 figures a month. That puts money back in the cooperative to pay for everything we've done, to read for investments, and make room for the future to continue providing those services. We got around to doing NPS. They told us on Friday afternoon, you may not get 500 results. We had 500 results in the first 30 minutes. By Monday, we had 3,000 results. By Monday afternoon, we cut it off, and we scored a 91. I can't end without talking a little bit about Elvis. What would Elvis think of all this technology? He would love it. Elvis had a cell phone in his car, if you could call him that, in the 70s. It was rotary dial, but he had one. He did the first concert around the globe from Hawaii to 1.5 billion viewers. That's amazing. I think he would be proud, being a hometown Tupelo boy, that we've built enough fiber to go from Tupelo to Hawaii. And you know, his logo's on the screen. Elvis's logo was taking care of business. He put it on his plane. He put it on his jewelry. He wore it everywhere because that was his motto. Well, I think that is kind of what Tombigbee's done. I think that's what Calix has allowed us to do, and it's just been a really cool thing.
All right, thank you, Scott. All right. Yeah, I got some. Got some questions for you.
All right.
All right. So by the way, so this is a big event, right? 3,000 people, really, really big event. But I think you actually just had an event that's even bigger.
You might say that. You might say that. It was pretty important. You know, what better place than to get engaged?
You got engaged this weekend.
No. The big event. No, stop your pause. The big event is she said yes.
Yes. I'm sure you weren't that worried. Anyway.
I was terribly concerned.
Okay.
She's a beautiful, great woman, and she's watching, so she's hearing every bit of this.
All right, congratulations. So Michael mentioned, you had a lot of interesting discussions when you were going to start the business. You're in AdTran's backyard. I'm sure there were a lot of consultants talking to you. How'd you find Calix?
So we had a myriad of consultants come in. I will say, finally we opted for ConneXions, and they led us to you. And choosing you guys, choosing Calix was the second best decision I've ever made.
Okay. I don't think you made that decision.
No, she did make the
She
best
made the
decision.
decision. Yeah.
Asking her was my choice,
Okay,
so that
there
was
you
my
go.
best decision. But choosing you guys, I could have never imagined a company that's, you're traded, you're public, you're big. You're not big, it's family. You care about what we do. Our customer is your customer, and you support us every step of the way, and you're there for us to grow and to develop. I have one marketing person. I can't do this, but I can use your Jerry D video and be successful. I can get to a 91 score with your help.
Well, we're glad to help. But interesting. So you had 9 football stadiums. You're deploying to 14 communities. So that takes investment. How'd you convince your board to support you on this?
Again, it's an easy decision. So we have billboards out there, and thousands of people drive by a billboard, and they don't even read it. You get no feedback from it. You don't know if it's any good. The cost of a billboard for 2 years is the whole cost of building SmartTown to all of our communities. The cost to build all of them is about $120,000. That's a billboard for 2 years. And I get to see the people's eyes coming into the football stadium, and they see our logo, and they know we're there, and they know we care.
Absolutely.
That's what makes us different.
Absolutely. So you want to show everyone what that looks like?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's see it.
New at 6, many rural communities have struggled with internet connection in the past, but Tombigbee Electric is working to help. This time for Friday night football games.
Shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision. Always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living. Didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living. Shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision. Always had
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Okay, I don't know about you,